Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Jaya Gopi Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Jaya Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Radhanath Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Nittai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nittai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nittai. Their Lordship Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, good morning, and welcome to this special class. Well, I pray for blessings that I'd be able to say something pleasing to the acharyas, to the assembled devotees. It is a special occasion today, and the appearance of Lord Varaha, incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what an auspicious day after Ekadashi. So this morning we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is the second canto that's titled The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 7, Text 1. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it is chapter 7, text 1. And it's entitled Scheduled Incarnation with Specific Functions. Brahma uvacha yatro dayata kishkiti tadladho dharayana bhibhitra Karudhim tanu shakala, karudhim ta yajna mayim ananta, anantar maharanva upagantam, adhidayatam, tam dharasra yadhrim, Iva vajra dharo dhara. Translation. Lord Brahma said, when the ultimately powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon Hiranyaksha appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Transliteration. Brahma uvacha. Lord Brahma said, Yatra, at that time when Udhyata attempted Kistitala, the planet Earth, Udharayana, for the matter of lifting, Bhibirat assumed, Kradhim pastimes, Tanum, form. Shakala, total. Yajnamayim, all-inclusive sacrifices. Ananta, the unlimited. Antar, within the universe. Maha Arnave, the great Garbha ocean. Upagatam, having arrived at. Adhi, the first. Dayitam, demon. Tam, him. Dramstaraya, by the tusk. Adrim, the flying mountain. Eva, like. Vrajradaraha, the controller of the thunderbolts. Dadara, pierced. Propose. Brahma Vacha. Panibrita. Trodim Tano Sakala Yagya Mahimananta. Antar Maharnava Upagatim Aditayatam. Tam Dadaradim Iva Vrajro Daradarara. Brahma Vacha. Dada Kishitikta. Krodhim Tanu Shakala Yajamanamananta. Antar Manam Upagantam Aditetam. Tam Daristam Viva Vraja Darodharadam. Thank you. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation once again. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiranyaksha, appeared and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Purport. Since the beginning of creation, the demons and the demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always the two classes of living beings to dominate the planets of the universes. Lord Brahma is the first demigod, and Hiranyaksha is the first demon in this universe. Only under certain conditions do the planets float as weightless balls in the air, and as soon as these conditions are disturbed, the planets may fall down in the Garbhodaka ocean, which covers half the universe. The other half of the spherical dome within which the innumerable planetary systems exist. The floating of the planets in the weightless air is due to the inner conditions of the globes and the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil from within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. A similar disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiranyaksha, the great exploiter of the gold rush, and the earth was detached from its weightless form and fell down into the Garbhodaka ocean. The Lord, as maintainer of the whole creation of the material world, therefore assumed the gigantic form of a boar with a proportionate snout and picked up the earth from within the water of the Garbhodaka. Sri Jayadev Goswami, the great Vaishnav poet, sang as follows: O Keshav, the Supreme Lord, who have assumed the form of a boar, O Lord, the planet Earth rests on your tusks, and it appeared like the moon engraved with spots. Such is the symptom of an incarnation of the Lord. The incarnation of the Lord is not a concocted idea of fanciful men who created the incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of the Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances, like the above mentioned occasion, and the incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. The modern creators of the many cheap incarnations may take note of the factual incarnation of God as a gigantic boar with a suitable snout to carry the planet Earth. When the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, the demon of the name Hiranyaksha tried to create a disturbance in the methodical functions of the Lord, and therefore he was killed by being pierced by the Lord's tusk. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the demon Hiranyaksha was killed by the hand of the Lord. Therefore, his version is that after being killed by the hand of the Lord, the demon was pierced by the tusk. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this version. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manoblistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Ghorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadeve Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nevishesha Sunyavadi Paskatya Adeshatarine. Hare Krishna. So today, as we mentioned, is a very auspicious day, and it is the appearance of Lord Varahadeva. And it's so interesting here in the purport because, or actually this particular chapter is titled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. Now imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as we know him and love him to be, is all beautiful, right? And here we find that this boar incarnation appears. And in the most beautiful, Lord now takes the form of something that looks so abominable. And his form is such that when this boar appears, how does Krishna appear in such a form? We know, and I was just looking around at all these pastimes, such beautiful forms of the Lord. And here we have this boar that comes to actually save planet Earth. So Krishna, again, he is ultimately here, and Bhagavad Gita says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear at times when he needs to, right? To save, and here it was to save planet Earth. As it is described here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that here the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, and the demon of the name Hiranyaksha tried to create a disturbance in the methodical functions of the Lord. So what happens is that, as we all know, when there's some disturbance in the planetary systems, the earth actually, there's some form of irregularity. Say, for instance, here we have all these weather warnings, right? More likely now than previously. The weather system is such that it gives us the heads up to say a level 5, a level 4. This is what you can expect in this particular area, correct? So what happens is that we now take the precautions. So when there's a disturbance, there's an imbalance in these areas, on these cosmic activities, what to speak about nature here in the earth planet, when there's the imbalance, and it was due to Hiranyaksha now actually being very, very greedy for gold. So when he dug from the earth, what had happened, it caused an imbalance to the cosmic manifestation, and the earth then went into the deep, dark ocean. Here there was a plea to say, save Bhumi, save Bhumi Devi, the earth planet. And here now the appearance of the boar form, known as Varahadeva, has come. Now how did he appear? This is also very, very interesting, because here Bhagavatam also shares with us, Srimad Bhagavatam, this is the third canto, where Lord Brahma, he says here, and this is text 18 of canto 3, chapter 13, text 18. The translation is, O descendant of Bharat, while Brahma was observing him, that boar became situated in the sky in a wonderful manifestation as gigantic as an elephant. But before this boar that appeared went up to the sky and became gigantic as an elephant, what happens before that? While Brahma was engaged in thinking, a small form of a boar came out of his nostril. So actually Varahadeva as the boar form was manifest from the nostril of Lord Brahma. And the measurement, it is described here, the measurement of the creature was not more than an upper portion of a thumb. So the upper portion of the thumb appeared from Lord Brahma's nostril. And thereafter, very quickly, the next verse, as we were reading, it says that from observing him, he had then ascended to the sky. And how did he then look? He then looked as gigantic as an elephant. So it goes on to say, text 20, translation, struck with wonder at observing the wonderful boar-like form in the sky, Brahma, with the great Brahmins, as well as the Kumaras and Manu, began to argue in various ways. Text 22 then says, first of all, this boar was seen no bigger than the tip of a thumb, and within a moment he was as large as a stone. The mind is perturbed. Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu? So now the conversation starts to actually ask, who is this person that can appear as the tip of a thumb and then go to the sky immediately and then take this gigantic form as an elephant? So it could only be Vishnu. And Prabhupada says in this purport of text 22, since Brahma is the supermost person in the universe and he had never experienced such a form, he could guess that the wonderful appearance of the boar was the incarnation of Vishnu. The uncommon features symptomatic of the incarnation of Godhead can bewilder even the mind of Brahma. So that is how powerful Lord Varahadeva is. And again now we move on to the next verse and translation here. While Brahma was deliberating with his sons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, roared tumultuously like a great mountain. And that's when they knew that this is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So as we here, come to these festivals of, it actually begins tomorrow, Lord Nityananda's appearance day, we look upon how these forms of the Lord have come to save the world under different circumstances. And as we've always said, that these are the lessons that are taught to us by the pastimes of the Lord. Now, when we look at this, His Holiness Giriraj Swami has actually mentioned in a class on the appearance of Sri Varahadev, Lord Varahadev, that when the ocean and air is polluted, this goes against the laws of nature. So when there's such pollution and there's the degradation not just of human society, but of cosmic manifestation, remember this was actually, all of this, the world was created by the Supreme Personality. So when there's negativity that now comes into this cosmic sphere, and there's pollution, ocean, air, when we talk about the environment, we talk about all these things, these changes that take place now, then devotees actually get upset because the demons are now taking over. Giriraj Swami mentioned in a class in Juhu during this particular festival that, even obtaining the land for the Hare Krishna temple, the Hare Krishna land, Radharas Bihariji Mandir, it was so difficult. And there were so many people that were against obtaining that land. Right? And Prabhupada mentioned that those people were actually demon-like. So when there's something or some form that goes against the spread of the holy name, when it goes against what Krishna has created, then those demons take over. Devotees, because they are compassionate, they surrender to the Lord and pray for protection. And such devotees, therefore, understand that when they pray for this sort of protection, the Lord appears in different forms. So we've seen in the past time, like with Prahlad Maharaj, we're all very familiar with that. Tomorrow we observe Nityananda Trayodasi. And then before we know it, it's Gaur Purnima. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as a devotee. That was his function. That was his form. That he took this golden avatar to actually give his life and soul to show us the real form. And again, His Holiness Radhanath Swami describes also in a class about how beautiful Mahaprabhu actually appeared in the streets of Navadvip. As who? Right? As Lord Varahadev, to explain this. So what had happened in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu was actually on the streets of Navadvip, and someone was reading the pastime of Lord Varaha. They were reading this pastime of the boy incarnation and how he came and how his form was and so on, and how he picked up the earth from the ocean to save the earth. And he was so ecstatic. Mahaprabhu became so ecstatic at this point that he ran to the house of Murari Gupta, who was Hanuman in the pastime of Ramayan. Their Lordship Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai, Srimad Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Mahaprabhu ran into the home of Murari Gupta, and because he was so ecstatic in hearing this pastime of the boy incarnation of the Lord, and he ran crying out, "Bo, Bo, Bo." And he went into the prayer room of Murari Gupta, and what did he see? He saw a small pot of water that Murari Gupta was actually using to worship his own deities. So he took the small pot of water and he began to roar. Mahaprabhu began to roar, thinking that was the Garbhadakshay ocean. ocean. Because remember, this pastime was in the ocean. So he took that small pot of water that he saw in the altar room, and he was meditating to say, this is the ocean that Varahadev had come to. And he was still screaming, Bo, Bo, Bo. And what had happened at that point was the manifestation of Lord Varaha, the boar incarnation. And here with his hooves, with his tusks, looking exactly like the boar avatar. And Murari Gupta was astounded. He was astounded right in front of me. Lord Varaha has appeared. And at that point, Murari Gupta did not know that Mahaprabhu was actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then he started questioning, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the Supreme Personality of Godhead? How can he just appear as the boar in front of me? So this was the first glimpse of actually understanding the real Mahaprabhu, who he is. So Murari Gupta then fell to the ground, and Varahadev then said, offer me prayers, offer me prayers, offer me prayers. And Murari Gupta says, well, I cannot offer these prayers because I don't have it in me. I don't have that, the power in me to offer the Supreme Personality of Godhead prayers. But only the Lord himself knows of his divine glories. And that is such an important point, because the Lord creates Shastra to reveal himself. It is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead who can actually share his divine glories. So even Murari Gupta could not actually glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he says, I am the Lord Boar. This is what Mahaprabhu then said in the form of Lord Varahadev. I am the Lord Boar, and I have appeared before you in my transcendental form. Yet the Vedas mock me, saying that I have no eyes, no ears, no hands, no legs, and every limb of my body is mocked because of how I look. Whereas I've saved the planet Earth. So in this ancient pastime, this boar form of Lord Varahadev has taken the earth out of the bondage of polluted ocean and saved this. So Mahaprabhu then comes and says, and I am here to deliver the descendants of Kali, just as Varahadev has lifted the ocean from the earth from the ocean. So when we actually ponder on this, the Lord went to a deep ocean, polluted, to rescue the earth. Just like that, Mahaprabhu has come to us in this degraded age of Kali. To rescue the earth, Varahadev came, and to rescue the residents of the earth, Mahaprabhu has come. So that's also a very good analogy, because when we look at it, Bhumi Devi is there, and we look at this form of Varahadev lifting her with his tusk. And this was the ideal form of the Lord as a boar, to take this feature that he could dive deep and then he could lift the earth with his tusk. Now, there's another pastime attached to also the service and the association of devotees around Varahadev. And it's so interesting because in all scripture, the association of devotees and not committing offense to devotees is very, very clear. And tomorrow being Nityananda's appearance day, it's also very important for us to actually take a moment to reflect on the association of devotees and the aparad that we can actually unknowingly commit, and what happens that hinders our path of devotional service. So whilst in this pastime, His Holiness Radhanath Swami beautifully explains as well, in the form of Varahadev, and this is a pastime, Upon lifting the earth from the deep, dark, filthy ocean, the Lord had appeared to save Bhumi Devi, right? With his tusk, the Lord impregnated Bhumi. And there was a son that was called Bhoma. So when this son appeared, he was really a pious person. He appeared from Varahadevas. And he was pious, he became a king. And, he did all wonderful things. But due to some past karmic, cyclic activity, he became really, really obnoxious thereafter. Right? And eventually he became an asura, Bhomasura. And what had happened, he had stolen the earrings of Lord Indra's mother, Bhomasura. Now this is the son of Varahadevas and Bhumi Devi. And Bhomasura had then stolen the earrings of Lord Indra's mother. Now, Indra was not pleased by this. And many other things he has done as well. I'm just mentioning this one. So, Bhomasura had stole the earrings, and then Lord Indra threw a thunderbolt to Bhomasura to actually say, you know what, bring back my mother's earrings. You can't steal from my own mother. And what happened? Bhomasura said he dodged that thunderbolt effortlessly. He dodged the thunderbolt. So what happened? Lord Indradev, he ran to Krishna and he prayed to him. And he said, please Krishna, reinstore the dignity of the demigods, because Bhomasura is causing a lot of problems here with the demigods. Not only has he stolen my mother's earrings, he's attacked many other demigods as well, doing nasty things to them. So Lord Indra prayed, please help me get my mother's earrings back. And now Bhomasura, being a king and being a nasty one now eventually, he had this huge fort. And if you go to Maharashtra in India, you'd see some of the forts are still there. But it's not as it used to be. So there was a huge fort around Bhomasura's palace, and there were spikes and there was doors, and there was a lot of asuras around there. The demons were there. There were layers and layers of protection. As we have in our homes now, these electric fences, these are nothing compared to what was there at the fort of Bhomasura. So really, really greatly protected. And what did Krishna do? Krishna boarded Garuda. So he decided to fly with Garuda. And who did he take with him? Thank you, Prabhu. He took Satyabhama. And this is very interesting as well. Because when Krishna goes to fight, does he take any of his queens? No. But this time, it was Krishna and Satyabhama and Garuda, and they were flying to the fort of Bhomasura. Now we're wondering, why is Krishna taking Satyabhama, right? Because when Bhomasura was little, and he was naughty, so when he was as a child, he was naughty. Then Bhumi Devi, the mother, approached Krishna and said, please don't kill my child. At no point kill my child. He's a naughty boy, but don't kill him. So what Krishna did, he wanted to honor. He didn't promise Bhumi Devi, but he wanted to honor that. So he said, if Bhomasura now becomes attacks me and things get really violent, I've got Satyabhama with me, the queen, and she can give me permission. So she can actually give me the permission to kill Bhomasura. So very technically, Krishna was clever. So he boarded Garuda with the beautiful Satyabhama, the queen. So he didn't go against Bhumi, but Satyabhama is the origin of Bhumi. She's the goddess of fortune. Right? So she was able to give the permission to Krishna, to her authority, superseded Bhumi Devi. So, if Brahmasura didn't listen, then Krishna had the authority which was higher than actually Bhumi. So Krishna wanted to keep everything authorized. He didn't want to go against Bhumi. And what happened with the bows and arrows, all these demons from the ground was attacking Krishna and on Garuda. And very, very interestingly, there was so much of commotion. But what did Krishna do from Garuda? What did he do? He blew his conch shell. And when he blew that conch, all the demons arose. They came up, and eventually the gods woke up. Mura, who had 5 heads, he woke up and he says, well, I'm supernatural, I have these powers. He was sleeping underwater, right? And he woke up, and eventually he started screaming. He picked up the trident and he hurled it at Garuda. But Krishna did the way he fought this battle at Brahmasura's fort was very different. Because what he did from Garuda, he killed the demon first, and then as the arrows were coming up to the sky to Garuda, he then just disempowered the arrow. So he fought a very, very different battle. So there was heads everywhere, the demons were dying everywhere, and Krishna was just neutralizing the arrows that were flying to him. So Brahmasura then became very angry, and he came out personally, and he says, it's now time for me to personally appear and attack Krishna. So what he did was that he was in the air and he'd want to kill this demon. And simultaneously he killed the soldiers, he killed the demons, and then the entire army of Brahmasura was lying on the floor. And Brahmasura attacked Krishna, and eventually the Sudarshan chakra of Krishna severed his head. And Brahmasura had the past karma, so therefore his demoniac form or his demoniac qualities had come about. So in his palace, when Krishna went into the palace of Brahmasura eventually, there were 16,108 beautiful princesses who were kept captive in that time. And they all fell in love with the beautiful form of Krishna. And because of his compassion, because of his heroism, and Krishna could understand the hearts of these beautiful princesses, and what he did was he took them back to Dwarka. So Bhumi appeared and brought back the earrings of Indra's mother, and Krishna on Garuda went back to Indraloka and returned the earrings of Lord Indra's mother. So again, we understand that these pastimes are there to show us the strength. Also, this particular pastime, which I found very interesting at this time, was the appearance of Nityananda, of Mahaprabhu, and how the association of devotees are so important. Even in the pastime of Lord Varahadevas, of Brahmasura, the son of Varaha and Bhumi, what had happened, we understand not to commit an offense to a devotee, because the Lord will appear to protect his devotee. Very, very, very important process. The Supreme Personality of Godhead comes down in whichever time, in whatever form, to protect his devotees. Mahaprabhu came as a devotee of Krishna to show us the chanting of the Mahamantra in this age of Kali. Also, imagine, we have the beautiful form of Radha and Krishna that we could worship in our temple. Imagine the Lord so kind to give us that form, right? Imagine if we had to put the huge boar-like form on our altar to worship. We wouldn't even have a temple that size as described here. His form was such that he could imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his tusk lifting the earth out from the depths of the ocean. So Varahadevas also came to destroy greed. One of the qualities that we are warned against, when we become greedy as humans, our mind becomes consumed. We become so consumed with attaining material possessions. And as Hiranyaksha was wanting gold, so too our mind becomes consumed with more and more. Have you ever noticed when the goalpost shifts? You have something, you've attained something, and now that's done, you want something more. Then that's done, you want something more. So you're always seeking. It's that material nature where we are seeking more and more. And what has happened? Even the earth was destroyed by the greed of this demon for wealth, for gold. We see what's happening to our oceans. It's polluted with oil, with waste. We see around the world there is war. Why? Because the different countries want to now gain wealth, right? By the more that we actually have take over land, we become rich. The countries become wealthy. So what happens? Human nature, human life is not, we disregard it, we discard it. Because we are fighting for power. We become greedy for power. Ego takes over. And all of this, Varahadeva reminds us that this greed is not what is going to take us back home, back to Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead will come to destroy this greed from us. He will appear as huge and as gigantic. Actually, it is also described in the form of this boar form of the Lord, that each hair paw on the form of the boar was so gigantic that the water from all the oceans could be poured inside one hair paw and it would still not overflow. So you can just imagine in your mind's eye the size of this boar form of the Lord. Right? So all the oceans in one hair paw of this boar would not overflow. So here we also look at, very interestingly, Mother Yashoda pouring a little bucket of water on baby Krishna. Too much for Krishna. But that's the Supreme Personality of Godhead too. And here the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one hair paw, all oceans of water would not overflow. Imagine the mighty power of the Supreme. We also reflect ahead of Nityananda Trayodasi tomorrow, that Nityananda Prabhu appears as a servant, and we are looking as servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're actually begging for prayers from the Supreme Personality of Godhead that all this greed could be taken away from us. The mind could be fixed on our devotional service, and the real pleasure comes from Krishna Seva. So this incarnation manifests in this world, but he remains aloof from the world. So although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahaprabhu, appears in this world, in the age of Kali, but he does not become a part of it. He remains aloof. He's here physically, but he's not entangled in materialism. So we as human beings, we are here physically, we're entangled in materialism as well. But we can strive based on all these understandings to move away from the negativity that actually churns the heart in so many different ways. This greed is there, anger is there, ego is there, lust is there, the need for more is there, right? And when we detach ourselves and we take a step back and we remain aloof from all these negative qualities, we are able to then realize we can have the vision to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we pray at this point to the Guru and Vaishnav so we can remain aloof. We pray that we are not committing offense to the Vaishnav, because the Lord himself appeared, Krishna with Satyabhama. Think about that pastime. He appeared on Garuda, even Bhaumasura, to kill him. For what? For Lord Indra's mother's earrings. Why? Because the devotee was displeased. The devotee was offended, so Krishna appeared. So we should not offend devotees. Actually, our path to devotional service is Das Anu Das, the servant of a servant of a servant. So these beautiful pastimes are there, and we appreciate it, especially on days like this where there's spiritual significance that goes far beyond this. And it shows us that the Supreme Lord will always protect those who sincerely calls out to Him. The sincerity of the heart, and we'll never know where Krishna is appearing or what instruction He is giving us. It's the sincere heart that will actually reveal that Krishna will protect us no matter what. So this boar-like form appeared from the nostril of Lord Brahma, and immediately went to the sky, became so gigantic. What to speak about us? If we just sincere to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He will protect us. And that is the understanding. Let go of everything negative. Let go of all of our attachments, as difficult as it may seem. Let us try and remain aloof within the material world. We have no choice right now, right? We remain within the material world, but we strive to be aloof from material attachments. So, are there any comments, thoughts, realizations?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ranga.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class. Very dramatic pastime. And we see that the Lord took Satyabhama because Satyabhama had to instruct the Lord to kill Bhaumasura, otherwise he could not kill because she was basically an incarnation of Bhumi Devi in one sense, and also Lakshmi Devi. So so Satyabhama had to give instructions to the Lord to kill him. Like, what are you playing with him for? Like, just, get rid of him. And then that's when, Krishna took that opportunity to kill Bhaumasura. So thank you. The Bhagavatam is full of these wonderful descriptions of how the Lord, kills the demons and, other demons as well, that the Lord, he first, in one sense, he plays with them, because that's one of the sporting activities of Krishna also, is that, he cannot kill demons in the spiritual world, so he comes down to this world, in order to vanquish them and to have the sporting activity of, fighting. So in this way we can understand that the Lord has the spirit of fighting as well, and he can only display it on this earth planet. So thank you very much for that dramatic performance.
Thank you, Ranga. Thank you so much, Ranga Devi. And I think for me, one of the things is just to add what Ranga Devi has said, that these pastimes, make it real. When we look at Krishna and we think of this form, when we read Bhagavatam and we think, as human beings, we say, oh my, what's really going on? There's demons and there's so much. But Krishna also, he has so much of love. He has so much of love to give his devotees. And here he actually appears to save the earth, to restore balance in this cosmic manifestation. Whereas baby Krishna, he appeared with that Vatsalya Ras, where there's that loving interaction, in Vrindavan and so on. So Krishna gives us so much to think about in so many different forms. And what did he do? As you rightfully pointed out, Satyabhama, he went to the queen to seek permission. How much better? What a perfect example. So, thank you. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm trying to understand the size of the boar incarnation. I thought I heard you speak about 3 dimensions. One, the tip of the thumb. The other, the size of an elephant in the sky. And the other one, you said the paw is so big that the ocean fill it up. So what actually is the size?
Inconceivable. There you go, one word. Exactly, and that's the supreme nature of Krishna, where he is inconceivable, because he starts off coming out of the nostril of Lord Brahma, very small, the tip of a thumb. And then he goes into the sky, and you could see the size of an elephant or even bigger. And eventually when he comes out, as Ranga says, dramatic, eventually when he gets into the depths of the ocean, he's in his full wrath. So that's the power of the Supreme Personality. So his size itself is inconceivable. But if you want to read more, you would find it exactly here. And it is in this reference of Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, part 2, and it is chapter 13, the appearance of Lord Varaha. So as you get into further texts, you would see exactly. So just to read one for you, I've just opened text 26. Playing like an elephant, imagine, right? He entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers by the great devotees. The Lord is the object of the Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him. So these texts go on in description of his, and then before entering the water to rescue the earth, the next verse, Lord Boar flew in the sky, slashing his tail, his hard hairs quivering. His very glance was luminous, and he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and his glittering white tusks. So we go on, and there's a perfect description if you'd like to read.
I wanted to ask another question. It seems like we have a couple of minutes.
Sure.
And it is about aparad. So aparad is conceived differently, it seems, by different devotees. But I was wondering, if aparad hinders bhakti, then what initiatives are there to resolve conflict, if ever, between devotees? If we say that we want to practice compassion, if there are tensions, shouldn't there be a nice, safe forum for people to resolve conflict and progress spiritually? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, to answer your question universally, I think conflict is there in every phase of our lives. Whether we're in a classroom as a child, we have some conflict with our peers. Whether we grow up as teenagers, whether we are in relationships in marriage and as devotees. There's always different personalities and different characters, right, that we will meet in our lifetime. But there should always be a platform where we can share safely. They should always be a platform where we offer non-judgmental space. I'm very big into having a safe, non-judgmental space. And mentors within ISKCON is very, very important. Actually, there's a very good system, many systems around the world where you have a mentor. In Krishna consciousness, it is described that you have peers. You have those that you give association to, you have those that you get association from, and there's those that are on your level where you share with. So there should always be that levels of association within devotees. And in that way, you can seek the guidance of a trusted mentor who understands your character, your personality, and who could guide you as such. So when we talk about conflict, if you have that person that you could share with, and that person is able to guide you, and you are able to receive that guidance, that's also another very important thing. You must be open to receive that guidance. then we'd be able to move forward. So aparad, as you say, it's very, very, the Lord is not pleased when his devotees are displeased. And that's the reality. So if somebody upsets a devotee, the Lord gets upset. It's like a mother and a child. You know, if somebody is upsetting the child, the mother gets upset. So because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are all his children. So if somebody upsets his child, he's going to be upset. And what's going to happen? That our path to bhakti is going to get a little bit more difficult. Because we were all meant to serve each other in a loving mood. So conflict resolution, I do believe that a system of mentorship is very, very important. And it's something that we could earnestly develop further. There's always room for development. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else? So let us just get into the mood of Nityananda Trayodasi, Varahadev's appearance day, and enjoy these festivals, but take in those pastimes as well. Thank you so much. Shri Bo Incarnation, Lord Varahadev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Thank you.